Okay, well, here we are. So as you can see, we stopped for a reason. It's not going to look like this forever. So I was excited to be able to show you guys step by step just how easy it was. So when we got this porch, of course, it was just the normal concrete color. Now we're doing a concrete porch today. There's going to be different things you're doing, but you do want to make sure you're cleaning the heck out of it. So definitely buy yourself a concrete cleaner, maybe an etcher, power wash it, get it down to the just bare minimum that you can to make sure it's totally clean. And then you're going to throw a primer on top. So we used a really great primer made for concrete specifically, and it was a Valspar product. This is actually the color as well. So you'll see one in there that actually has the primer on it. So once you do a couple of coats of that primer, that's going to seal the deck, or the porch rather. So you don't want to go in too soon. You want to give it like a couple days to actually cure to your porch. Once that was done and I gave it a couple days of being white and just waiting impatiently, I went in with my latex paint. So this is actually a porch and floor and patio made for concrete. It is extremely durable, obviously. So you want to make sure that you're getting a concrete paint if you're painting concrete surfaces, of course. So we rolled that out, let that dry for about 3 minutes because that's all I had in me to wait because I couldn't wait to get the stencil on. But once it dried, I started in sections. So the key to when you're stenciling your porch is not to be knowing where to start or knowing where to go first. Don't let it be overwhelming. Take the square that you're working in or the section you're working in and just go right up to the top corner and start. Okay, so we started in the back right corner, and you'll be able to see that in some of our great videos and tips on the blog as well that we'll link for you. So you're going to take your stencil, and of course once you start going in rows, you're going to follow that same pattern by going vertically down your porch this way, right? So if you go this way, sometimes you start to weeble and wobble a little. If you just keep going one direction and always stay that way, you're going to get that straight line. So as you can see, of course, this stops, and you're always left with your stencil with a little bit of a guide that goes like right here. You're going to be left with a little bit of a guide on your stencil, and that's going to be where you know that you need to lay the stencil to line up perfectly. So if you look right here, what I'm doing, I'm just matching up the best I can. Okay, so this can get really annoying because sometimes it's a little off and whatever, but at the end of the day, get it about pretty perfect, right? So there's where it lands. And you want to take some painter's tape. Now, if you're working on concrete, it's kind of hard to get it to stick. And I know that they do sell this adhesive. You can try it, but when you're working on a textured patio like this or porch, it doesn't seem to adhere very well or become sticky enough. So if you do, great, if it works. I went for blue tape. That was my favorite thing to use. You're just going to tape it down like this, making sure that, of course, it's all cleaned off and ready to go. You're going to get out your roller. I prefer maybe a 5-inch. That kind of gives you more control over it. And you're going to just take your paint, shake it up, do what you need to do, and open it right up. Let me get that for you. Guys.
Shannon, while you're pouring your paint, can you tell them why you used aluminum foil?
Aluminum foil is such a painter's trick, right, you guys? So when I pour my paint on the foil, when I'm done, I have that piece of foil to just wrap up my roller and put it in the refrigerator. Raise your hand if you guys do that. Isn't that the funniest thing? But it keeps it from drying out, and then I can come back later and finish the project that I have finished. So we're gonna pour some paint out. And again, we are using a Valspar product. This is actually a seasoned, very strong paint. It's not your typical acrylic paint or anything like that. You do wanna make sure you're getting a strong bonding paint. You're gonna roll it out. And then the key is when you have these notches where they want you to use those as guides, you don't want to just go up to them. You want to actually blend them, just like you would makeup or whatever else you're doing. So I'm going to go over it a little bit and just kind of blend it in. Now you'll notice it's obviously not totally full with the first coat, but I never really get too crazy with that first coat. I just kind of let it dry and I come back. So you would do the whole thing, of course, right up to your guide, which is going to be the same place there that you saw there to show you where to put your stencil next. Here again, we're matching up, so I'm just going to go all the way to the end so that it blends really well, and then so on and so forth. So all the way down, just like that, blend it in and let that dry. Once that's dry, give it a couple minutes, go through, do your next coat on top, and then you're just going to peel your stencil off without any problem. It doesn't really do anything crazy, but you'll see here this is of course not completed, but this is the first coat just to show you how cool that is. So when you're done with the stencil and you need to move on to the next spot, I do suggest taking this, and I always get myself a piece of cardboard where I take the stencil just because I know that there's going to be paint on the back end of that, and I lay it down on this cardboard to let it kind of absorb some of that paint from underneath so that it doesn't go onto the porch when I lay it down again. So that's one of my little quick tips. So that is as easy as that.
Can you tell us where you got that stencil?
Yes, so we are so lucky to have found such a great company called Cutting Edge Stencils. And their website, we'll go ahead and drop it in the comments, but I want you guys to check out their stencils because they're specifically made for different projects in your home. You look at the large size of the stencils, and you have to make sure that you're working with something much larger because you're laying it down so many times. You don't want to be working with this tiny little thing, right? So these stencils are great. They come with everything you need on the website. So I just love the ease of them. So
Yes. I love them,
sure.
and I can't wait to do my porch.
You're next. You're coming
I'm
up next.
So I can't wait to have the stencil. I've got a different pattern coming, and I'm going to do mine like a rug on the porch. So I think it's going to look a little bit different from this, but we'll have lots of pictures coming soon. Yep. This is going to be really amazing. You did a great job, Shannon.
I can't wait. I've been holding off to finish for you guys, so I can't wait to show you the final picture of the porch because it's been a long one.